welcome back. If you clicked on this video, you're probably a creative who is working with photo, video, or even arts of other kinds, and you're probably well off in your career already or just beginning in the space of creative work. And one of the most important things that you could have for yourself is a place to showcase all of the work that you've done in the past, your experience, your skill sets that you can show to other people and potential clients in the future. As a full-time UX designer and a freelance photographer and filmmaker on the side, a lot of my work basically needs to be showcased on a portfolio of some kind. It may feel like a very daunting and complex process to get all your work onto a website and have it showcased publicly, but it's actually not too hard, and I want to be able to break down some important things in this video. Specifically, I want to talk about why it's important to have a portfolio if you're a creator, choosing the right platform to showcase your work, some basic tips and tricks on how to best utilize the platform of choice, and finally a breakdown of my own portfolio pages of how I decided to make certain pages look and why I chose to make certain decisions. So let's talk about why you should even have a portfolio in the first place. As pretty standardized throughout the entire creative world, the way that you showcase your experience and your skill set is through past work that you've done. And being able to have a one-stop shop on a website that you can just send to someone is one of the most important and efficient things that you can do. I've had countless experiences in the past where a client wants to see work that I have, and it's super easy just to send them a URL of the page of your portfolio, and as a quick way for them to browse through stuff and to make sure if your work is suiting their needs. But having a portfolio isn't just because you want to work for freelance or for other people. It's also just a nice, satisfying feeling of having your personal work showcased somewhere that you could be proud of and show friends and family. And so for this video specifically, I'm going to showcase my camera work. Although this is only specific to photos and videos, this is something that you can take away as general elements for your portfolio of choice. So the second step is to figure out what platform of choice works best for your case. There are a bunch of website template builders out there that are super popular, and each of the platforms do offer certain features and certain pricings, but for the most part, they all kind of do the same thing. But the one I think is the most useful for most creators is Squarespace because of how easy it is. And that brings me to today's sponsor, Squarespace, where, just kidding, I'm not big enough to have a sponsor yet. But one of the great reasons why Squarespace is the place that I chose to use is because not only is it very easy to drag and drop stuff into certain parts of your website, but it's also fairly priced at about $144 a year. And if you compare that across all other platforms, it's actually one of the cheaper options. But specifically, you can even find a whole bunch of YouTubers who have Squarespace affiliate links where you can save almost 15 to 20% off of like your first year, which is a ton of money you could save. And to put that price into perspective, if I were to do one client job that I charge something like $150, I basically can pay off my entire year of membership on Squarespace in a matter of a few hours. So for this video, I'm going to go over Squarespace's template site, but again, you can use other things and they should be relatively the same. And without further ado, let's just jump in. So now we're here in the editor interface, and this is the only thing that you see. No one else sees this stuff on the side left right here. But this is generally the area that you can create different navigation sections that will show up wherever you put them, as well as new pages that you can link to from your home page. So as a quick example, let me just show you something that I can do here. So let's say I want to create a new page to showcase some photos and videos. I'm going to go here and create the plus, and you have these options of different layouts. Now, one I think is really easy for me is I just start on a blank page. And the reason for that is because I have full control over exactly how I lay out certain things without having to deal with certain templates that may not look the way that I want my page to look. So we have this new page here, and let's just call this test photo video page. So now you see here that you have this empty section that you can start creating. So you click this edit section in the page content, and you have this whole section where you can basically add certain things to places wherever you want. A really quick example here is I'm just going to add a grid of photos and then maybe one or two different videos and play around with some of the sizing of elements. So here, let's press the plus button, and I'm going to say, let's just do a text box and say photos. And you can change the certain sizing of things. So if I want it really big, I can have it really small. And then you can, of course, center things, very similar to like Microsoft Word. So I want to create a grid section of photos. So let's go into gallery, and right here with grid, we'll select that. And here I have a whole bunch of different image sizes that I can choose from. And you can see here in this pop-up section, I have the ability to upload as many images as I want. So if you click it, and let's say for me, so let's just do like these 5. And so in this time, they're uploading the photos that you have, and you just give it some time and your photos will show up. Okay, so our images are done uploading. So I have a few things that I can change here. So right now, these images are shown in 1x1 squares, and maybe I don't like that orientation. So if you see on this top here, I'll go to design, and now I can change the aspect ratio of all these images. So for me, I personally like using either 2x3 or 3x4 if I have portrait style pictures. So I'll do a 3x4 here. The next thing I'll do is probably go and decide how many images I want per row. And so you have this thing you can drag and it changes the amount of pictures that you have. I personally use either 2 or 3. And in this case, I'm just gonna do 3. And let's say I want to make the padding, which is basically the space between each image. Let's make that like 20. And then from there, I can choose this light box, which basically says that if I click on one of these images, Squarespace will basically show that image by itself, kind of as like a nice like show display of it. And you can even choose how the background looks, either a dark overlay or a light overlay. And finally, I will go and make sure that these images are in the right positioning that I want. So maybe I like this picture first, I can just go ahead and drag that over. Maybe I want this picture up here, and it'll change that for you to see as it happens. And one more thing that I actually just figured out how to do is you can change what is shown in this image by dragging up and down or side by side, depending on however much of your image you've already cropped out. So for this case, let's say I want to drag her to a little bit up here, and that is nice. And maybe this one on the side, I'm going to drag it down a little bit. So great little ways to tweak your photos and have it look the way that you want it to look. Once you have that, you basically just hit apply and you're done. That's what you have for the image section. So that's an example of how I do photos in a grid layout, and I'm gonna show you quickly how to do videos. I'm gonna add another section, and I'm gonna go to here and click video. And as you can see, a pop-up opens and I can choose a YouTube Vimeo link, and it'll basically showcase that video and its thumbnail as soon as you enter in the URL. Let's go to my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna go ahead and select this most recent video, copy the URL, I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna paste that in. Great, and then within seconds, you can see that it is showing the video, and then it also shows the thumbnail, which is fantastic. You also have the option of adding a custom thumbnail, but if you already have thumbnails built for your YouTube, then everything's done from there. Basically, that's it. You can just apply and you're done. Now, one more thing that I think is really helpful in spacing things certain ways is that you can use what are called spacers to change the size or the layout of certain things on your page. So let's say I don't like how big this YouTube video window is on my portfolio, so I can go ahead and just add a spacer, which is right here, and I'm gonna drag it this time to the side right here, like that. And of course, you can do an adjustment by dragging on the sides and making a certain space. In this case, I want to center it, so I'm going to add another spacer, and I'm going to put it to the right side of this video window. Again, I'm going to drag this over, and now this video is just a little smaller and a sizing that I think is appropriate for my website. Great, and so I'm going to go ahead and save this. And you can see now that this is the page that I have. There are a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm not going to have enough time to cover in this video, but basically these are the general steps if you want to create a camera video portfolio. And with that said, I want to talk now about my portfolio as a whole. So I actually went ahead and redid my portfolio. I've had one before from last year, and I wanted to just kind of redo it, add some new images, and just make it a little bit more appropriate for what work I have that is most up to date for this year. So basically on the top here in this header, I basically have my name, which if you click it, it basically goes back as a homepage link to this same page. And on this other right side, I have a navigation section to showcase different things on my website, such as the portfolio of all the work I have. This question mark section, which I'm going to get to later, it's actually a big thing I've been working on for a while, and I'm going to talk about it in a future video. And then an about section, which is just kind of a thing about me, and just describing my skill sets and the kind of background I have in camera work. And of course I have a contact page I've put in, so for any clients who want to reach out to me, they can fill out a form here, and as well as the location that I generally am currently living in. Going back to the portfolio page, let's just talk about this main landing page, which is my home page essentially. I have these big 6 tile images showcasing just general categories of work that I have. So for as an example, I'm going to go into portraits, and if I click it, it links to one of these pages that I've made on this side. and it showcases some of the images that I think are nice. And the thing I was talking about before is if you click into one of these images, it'll give you an overlay and you can see and navigate between these images in a larger format. I think a tip here that is actually really helpful is adding these cookie links at the bottom of your page so that people can be navigated to the next thing that you want to showcase instead of them having to scroll all the way back up to your page. So if I click travel, it'll link me to the next section that I've created, which is all of my travel photography. And you can see those images as well. And finally, I'm going to talk quickly just about this video section, which is on the bottom. I just have some of my YouTube videos showcased. And then I've also added some client work on the bottom, which I'm still going to update, but basically this is just how it's laid out. Last year, I had a navigation section that had like photo, video, and each of those had their own subfolders, which I found to be kind of a weird navigation. And a lot of people, based on the analytics on Squarespace, were not clicking into certain pages after the ones that were just showcased on like the landing page. So to increase the navigation and the ability for them to see more of my work, I basically wanted just to have a more visual representation of all the categories showed in the first homepage, rather than people having to click into the menu page and finding a specific section. So yeah, that's basically what I have for the introduction to how to get your portfolio started. I have a whole bunch of videos coming up soon that are not only going to be centered around photo, video tutorials, but as well as some of the stuff around UX design. Personally, I haven't found a niche yet in my YouTube channel, but my goal for 2021 is just to kind of upload things as I feel and not overthink what is supposed to go on my channel or not. With that said, I hope you guys are having a great new year. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.